Hello everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today we're going to be doing the tarot scopes, and right now we're going to be doing the tarot scope for October for the sign of Aquarius. So we're going to look at the astrology first, and then we're going to look at look at the cards. We're going to do a tarot reading using the Tarot of the Spirit by Pamela Eakins. Okay, so let's get started with the astrology. Let me find my little astrology calendar. All right, so Aquarius. So Aquarius is a air sign. It is a fixed air sign. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac. It is the last sign in the series of air signs, or the air triplicity, first being Gemini, and then Libra, and then Aquarius. Now, we do have quite a few planets in Aquarius at this time. We have both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. And if you remember back at the end of 2020, if you can remember back that far, we actually had a 20-year conjunction. Every 20 years, the planet Saturn and Jupiter come together, and this time it came together in the first degree of Aquarius, and many people were talking about this being the beginning of the Aquarian age, etc., etc. Certainly, the energy of Aquarius is out and about, and because Saturn and Jupiter are the social planets, the ideas, the Aquarian ideals, come in through the social realm. Of course, Aquarius is also a sign that's associated with revolution, and we are certainly in the middle of a revolution, are we not? So what's happening for Aquarius as a sign in the month of October? First of all, we do have Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius, and this month, Saturn and Jupiter, which have been moving retrograde, actually change direction and go direct. Saturn goes direct on the 10-10 portal, October 10th portal, and Jupiter goes direct on the 18th of October. On the same day that Jupiter goes direct, and shortly thereafter, actually, Mercury goes direct. Now, Mercury has been retrograde since the end of September, and it's been retrograde in the sign of Libra, which is also an air sign. So for you Aquariuses, Libra is actually the sign that is associated with your ninth house of your philosophy of life, your perspective, your wisdom, your higher self. All of that is ninth house stuff. So in that respect, we have a new moon in the sign of Libra. That new moon is conjunct Mars, which has been in Libra since September 14th. So there's been a lot of activity in that ninth house for you. If you're somebody who has written something or wants to publish, that ninth house is also the house of publishing. If you want to look into publishing something, even self-publishing, this would be a good time when we have this new moon in Libra to work in that direction. And we do have Mars there, so there's a lot of energy. We also have an inconjunct from Uranus on that day. Uranus, of course, is in Taurus. And for you Aquariuses, that would be your fourth house, wouldn't it? So that would be your fourth house. So Uranus moving through your fourth house can create a lot of instability in your home. It can create a lot of instability in your relationships with your family, which is always a little bit of a challenge for Aquarius anyway, because Aquarius tends to be more outside of the box and different. And so just the general energy of Aquarius, you're feeling like you don't belong to begin with. And then you have all this disruption going on with Uranus in your house, in your fourth house. So in ways, your Uranus in the fourth house can put a little bit of a fly in the ointment when it comes to that new moon in Libra. It simply means that you need to make some adjustments. That's all. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work. We also have a full moon in the sign of Aries. When the moon is in Aries and full and conjunct Eris, the goddess of discord, in an opposition to the sun, which is still very close to Mars in Libra. What gets activated is the third and the ninth house. The third and ninth house are what we call the mental houses. The third house, naturally ruled by Gemini, deals with our reasoning mind. And the ninth house, naturally ruled by Sagittarius, deals with our intuitive facility. And so that will be activated. There can be some stress and discord because of the opposition of Mars and Eris, because of the opposition of the Sun and Eris, and because of the conjunction of the Moon and Eris. And we also have to remember that Pluto is squaring that opposition. And for you, Aquarius, Pluto is in your 12th house. So Aquarius rising has had Pluto in that 8th house. 12th house. I keep doing that. I'm sorry. 12th house since 2008. You know, Pluto moving through that house really unearths a lot of, quite frankly, a lot of karma and a lot of things that need to be wrapped up. So for Aquarius, things have been getting wrapped up. And a lot of it has been like unsuspecting. Like there's been this energy of, well, I didn't expect that, or I didn't expect that, because we're dealing with the 12th house. And very often the 12th house, there's hidden things. So when it comes up, it comes up. It needs to be resolved. It needs to be worked. Remember, Pluto is going to be going into Aquarius in, I think it's 2024. For a bit, and then out, and then back in, right? And then eventually in Aquarius completely. And it's there for 20 years. So Aquarius, you have Pluto coming. And that perhaps really is the Aquarian age now, isn't it? So we have Pluto changing direction going forward. We have Saturn changing direction going forward. We have Jupiter changing direction going forward. Saturn and Jupiter are both in Aquarius, so they are moving through your first house. Saturn in your first house is asking you to restructure who you are, your identity, how you face the world. Jupiter expands things. Jupiter opens things up. Jupiter brings understanding in Aquarius, and that is also moving through your first house. The Sun for most of the month is in Libra, and for you that is your house of your philosophy of life. So that is, of course, activated with the full moon and the new moon and Mars being there. Mars will move into Scorpio, and then we're moving into your 10th house of career and public standing, but that's not going to happen till the end of the month. So Venus moves into Sagittarius. It's been in Scorpio. That is always challenging, but Venus in Sagittarius can bring some new friendships into your life. So I think that, and of course, Aquarius rules friendship. Aquarius is known for its ability to be a friend. So it's not all bad news, and it's actually not bad news. It's what we are dealing with and how to best deal with it, right? So I think that's what I want to say about Aquarius and what's going on in the sky. If you want a more complete view of what is happening astrologically, you can check out my Astrology of October, which I will try to get out today as well. So I think a lot of things are going to be coming out today. Or maybe tomorrow, but that gets into the real specifics of the astrology. And of course, astrology is ruled by Aquarius. So a lot of you Aquariuses are very into astrology because it helps you understand your place in the world, which isn't always easy to understand when you're in Aquarius, because for the most part, you're off planet. And trying to land on this one, and sometimes this planet doesn't make a whole lot of sense to the Aquarius sensibilities, as it were. Okay, so let's get started with the tarot reading. I am using, as I said, Tarot of the Spirit. I am wearing my shaman feather earrings in honor of the air signs. And so I expect I'll get some information from that realm as well. This deck is a great deck, and she does a lot of really, it's a great deck and a great book for those of you who love tarot and are interested in Kabbalah, because she puts a lot of Kabbalah reference in. It's actually based on the Kabbalah, this deck. So even the imagery, and the imagery is actually done by her mother, who's an artist. Now I don't know if her mom is still with us. I mean, had these cards for years, but they're great. The art is great, and the book is fabulous. So I can't say enough about it, quite frankly. It's been a great help to me in my journey working with the Kabbalah. So we have the Devil card. First card up. First card up. So the Devil is an interesting card. Okay, so what can the Devil be? The Devil can be that which we are connected to, or that which we're not connected, that which we are chained to. The Devil can keep us from the light, but the Devil is also a card associated with humor and what's the word? Farce, ridiculousness. How ridiculous is that, right? Devil. The Devil really is our attachment to things of the earth, to the detriment of our connection to spirit in its negative sense. In its positive sense, it can be a strong connection to spirit that helps you to manifest on the physical plane. So the Devil card is definitely a card where we want to work from the top down as opposed from down to the top, right? So it's a Capricorn card. So we're dealing with the Capricorn energy here, which of course Pluto is in Capricorn. And as I said to you, Pluto so as we look at this, this is the 12th house stuff that I talked about when I talked about the astrology. So there is a karmic aspect here that's coming up. So we have the challenge, and the challenge here is the Seven of Water. And in this deck, I love actually the Seven of Water in this deck, because what this person or what this card symbolizes is your ability to see above the illusion, to see above the illusion. So as a mentally oriented sign, what we are seeing with our eyes and the information, the logical information that's coming in, is important, right, to the Aquarius, because Aquarius is a mental sign. It's an air sign, and it wants to know something, and it's not always very good at discerning things that are emotional. And so your challenge at this time is to be able to see through the emotions that get engendered as we have Pluto move through that 12th house of yours. What's at the root? The great mystery. So every now and again, you'll find a tarot deck that has 79 cards in it, or more than 78. 78 is the usual number. And in this deck, we have the 79th card, which is the mystery card. And the mystery card says things are still unknown. Things have not been decided yet. It really is going to depend on where you put your energy as to how this is going to work out for you. In the past, we have the Strength card, the Strength. So you have shown great strength. The Strength card is associated with the throat chakra. You have had your voice heard, perhaps. This is about balancing the balance between expansion and contraction. And it is a tenuous balance at both. It is a tenuous balance at both. In the sky, we have the 10 of fire, called the cage. In this deck, this is the 10 of wands. In the Rider-Waite, it's the burden bearer. So what this really is that, you know, this is actually a Sagittarius card. And one of the things about Sagittarius is Sagittarius is what we believe to be true. And belief is a very personal thing because it's based on our experiences, right? And what we've been exposed to. And so this is like many, many different beliefs creating a conflagration. Is that the word? I think it's conflagration or conflagration or a big fire, right? The wands, or fire in this case, is spirit. And when you separate out spirit, it creates a problem because spirit is the oneness of spirit. And if you really look at what people believe, we can talk about religion here if you want. I think the basic tenets of most religion are the same. It's just the dogma and all the layers that people have put on the religion that cause. Like, what is really the difference between a Shia and a Sunni? What's really the difference between a Protestant and a Catholic, right? What's really the difference? It's a point of view. It's a point of view. And so as I'm looking at this card, is there a point of view that's holding you back? Is there a point of view that is keeping you imprisoned? And because Aquarius is very much a sign of having a fixed idea about things, this looks to me like you are being challenged in some way around your ideas. In the immediate future, we have the universe. So this is a wrapping up. This is a manifestation. This is about giving birth to something. And it's interesting because astrologically, we have that new moon in the house of publishing. So if you have been working on something like that, this is an indication that things are going to come to fruition and are going to wrap up, right? But this is an ending and a beginning. So for those of you who are not doing something like this and it has more to do with your beliefs, perhaps it's time to wrap up a certain belief system that is no longer serving or no longer works in the worldview that we see. We have the sun in the how it's seen from the outside, so there's illumination. And of course, the sun is the ruler of Leo, which is the opposite sign of Aquarius. And automatically we get this energy of revelation and awareness. Revelation and awareness. And of course, that axis, Aquarius and Leo, is the axis of love. So perhaps an awareness around love. Your domestic situation is the Hanged Man. So this can be delays. But really, what it also is the delays are there so that you can look at something from a different perspective. It is time for you to change your mind about something by looking at it from a different perspective and staying connected to Spirit. Spirit wants you to know that Spirit is there for you. You just need to connect to it. Hopes and fears. Brother of water. This is the Knight of Cups. I mean, it can be, moving on your idealism, right? Which is very Aquarius. Aquarius can be very idealistic. But it's also very emotional. And that can be the fear that Aquarius has. I mean, after all. And the outcome is the Birth of Light, which is my favorite card in this deck. In fact, I named my stained glass window that I made for my wedding the Birth of Light. This is the red. The red Star of David is fire. The the blue is water, and they come together in the spiritual initiation to create the third, right? The air, and then the earth below it. So this is creation at its best. This is creation of spiritual truth or spiritual realization. Um, and so at the end of this process, which quite frankly, it looks very challenging. I'm not going to blow sunshine up your butt because it's not my thing, even though the sun card is there. This is going to be a challenging month for you. That being said, the outcome of this is a birth of spirit, is a new realization, is a rebirth. It's a spiritual rebirth. And I'm just going to pull three cards, see if I can get a major arcana. We have the Mother of Winds. This is the Truth Seeker. This is the Queen of Swords. This is somebody who, and it is an Aquarius card. Queen of Swords is an Aquarius card. This is somebody who has risen above the challenges of their life with an understanding and an ability to have good judgment. The Nine of Fire. This is the ability to see from the highest perspective possible. And the Brother of Fire. This is the Knight of Wands. This is going on a journey, a spiritual journey. Okay, so that is ahead for you. Underneath it, we have Convergence, which is the Two of Fire, the Ace of Fire, spiritual realizations, and the Mother of Water, which is nurturance. And so there is a balance between spirit and a spiritual awakening of sorts, a spiritual realization, and also the realization that, yes, in fact, even though sometimes you don't feel it, you are human and you need love and you deserve love and you deserve to be nurtured and loved just like everybody else. Pinocchio has turned into a real boy, and you have to take that into consideration, that you need to make sure you're nurturing yourself through this process. So, I don't know, feelings and spirit and not a whole lot of logic. I mean, is even there an air sign? Well, there's the Mother of Air here. So there is a little bit of air in this, but it's mostly dealing with the other elements here. And for Aquarius, that can be a little challenging, but ultimately very productive for you. So if you need help, Aquarius, you can ask, us water signs for help with the feelings, and fire signs with help for the fire, and the earth signs to sort of ground us in reality. So we're all here for you because we know that you're here for us. All right, Aquarius, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe if there are people that are Aquariuses in your life that think would benefit from this reading, if it wasn't too out there and esoteric, that is. Please feel free to share. Have a great October, and I will see you again in November for the Taroscopes for November. Much love. Namaste. Keep shining your light, Aquarius. Keep shining your light.